His wife had died a week before. C.S. Lewis picked up a notebook. He began to jot down his random thoughts. Many years later, they were captured in a book which has been called A Grief Observed. Here is an excerpt from the 3rd page. C.S. Lewis says, "Meanwhile, where is God? This is one of the most disquieting symptoms. When you are happy, so happy that you have no sense of needing him, so happy that you are tempted to feel his claims upon you as an interruption, if you remember yourself and turn to him with gratitude and praise, you will be, or so it feels, welcomed with open arms. But go to him when your need is desperate, when all other help is vain, and what do you find? A door slammed in your face, and a sound of bolting and double bolting on the inside, and after that, silence." You see, for the Christian, there is nothing worse than feeling that God is absent. There is nothing so soul-destroying as finding that the one who has stood by you has disappeared from your side. C.S. Lewis was not afraid to raise questions about God and with God, and neither is Habakkuk. Of course, it should be said that asking such questions comes with some risks, doesn't it? One of the risks is that you will not like the answer that God gives. Of course, the other is that you'll get no answer at all. Now, I think that this alone makes the book of Habakkuk a great book for contemporary Christians. I think it's particularly poignant for those struggling with God's apparent absence or even with his apparent silence. But that's not all. It's also a very significant book for the New Testament. You see, one of the Apostle Paul's favourite verses about what it means to become a Christian comes from Habakkuk. What's more, the writer of the book of Hebrews uses the very same verse to talk about how one goes on as a Christian. In other words, this particular verse from Habakkuk captures both sides of the argument, how you become Christian, how you go on as a Christian. So if you're wanting to know how to be Christian, if you're wanting to know how to stick at being Christian, if you want to know how to do it when the world looks strong and powerful and God seems absent or perhaps even silent, if you've got real questions about the justice of God, if you want some answers as to what to do when God's promises don't seem to be being achieved, then the book of Habakkuk is a great book for you. It is about the struggle of one man of God with the ways of God in a tough time. It is therefore very relevant, I think, for us as Christians in a whole lot of ways. Oh, and by the way, if you want to weigh into this great book, here's some advice. Read it through in one go. It's not long, it's 3 chapters, and look for the mood changes in the prophet. He starts off, you see, as the questioning prophet. Then he becomes the trusting prophet, and finally he becomes the rejoicing prophet. So the question is this: what causes these changes in mood? Unlock this, and you'll find another great truth of the Christian life. So there's a challenge. I do hope that you'll be enriched by this great little book and learn much about God and his Son through it.